Hello, hello, this is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news, we talk about culture, and where we celebrate a brand new year. As this episode drops, it is the first day of 2026, and oh my god, I hope you guys are celebrating it with fun and lightness and good spirit, and with forward future thinking. We here at Fake the Nation have set aside some mood-boosting conversations, so let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into it. And next topic, we just read about a new trend, and to talk about it, I am joined by the wonderful comedian whose new special you can see the live taping of on November 9th in New York City. It's the wonderful Ophira Eisenberg. Hey, Ophira.
Hello.
We are also joined by the wonderful comedian and host of the podcast, The Mary Houlihan Show. It is the excellent Mary Houlihan. Hey, Mary.
Hello, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're both here, and I want to talk to you about this really interesting trend. Apparently, retirees are going back to college. Now, since the 90s, a bunch of these sort of retirement communities embedded in the university atmosphere have opened, and I don't know, what do you guys think of this?
Well, we don't have to worry about what kind of job they're going to get. What are you doing with that anthropology degree?
I know, they're not competing on the job market.
You know, it's nice. Great for them. I definitely will not be supporting financially my parents if they want to do this, but I support any people who want to do this.
It is true. That's like hilarious. It would be amazing to get a student loan at 76 and just be like, no, I'm totally paying this off. Don't you worry. Totally paying this off.
Well, which brings up an interesting, okay, so you both bring up an interesting point, which, for example, there's one at Arizona State University. Residents
Isn't there
pay
anything at Arizona State University?
I know. You can get a degree online. You can, I don't know what else, party. Residents pay about $500,000 in entrance fees. Okay, so it's not cheap.
Wow.
And for that $500,000, you get to live on campus, take classes alongside undergraduates, just be involved in whatever campus activities. The one in Arizona State opened in 2020. It is the center. It's called the Mirabella. It's located on campus in a 20-story high-rise. And you get access to the athletic stuff, the performing arts events. You can sit in on thesis committees. You can help international students practice their English skills. There's just essentially endless shit to do. And that's not the only one. There's one at Stanford. There's one at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. There's one at Penn State. These things are growing, and they're all pretty pricey. And I think there's also another component of them, which some of them become kind of like PA or what's it called? TAs.
Oh yeah.
Right. Where they're and they, maybe it's a business class or something, and they have all these decades of experience of business, so then they can impart their knowledge. So they're, and I'd say probably all the other ones are taking anthropology. But
yes.
I think you're right. I mean, what are the things that you don't like grow up dreaming like, oh man, I really wish I had taken more accounting classes when I was in college. The dreams are always like anthropology, maybe sociology maybe some
literature,
French.
Yeah,
French. They interviewed some people that were taking Spanish.
Of course.
No,
it's true. You can do it. That'd be a great business plan. Create a higher level academic institution where we just cut off all of the other stuff that we know no one really ever wanted to take. Business degrees, gone. Engineering, see you later. It's all just pre-med. Right. I think we're okay.
Yeah, totally. I love that idea. Well, I don't know. Like, Mary, do you have
statistics? We're okay.
Oh God. By the way, I had to take a bunch of statistics for public policy. It was like a part of the whole deal. Mary, do you is this something? If you look into your future, you're over 65, you're 70, whatever. Is this something that you think you would be into?
For sure, but not for $500,000 plus annual fees after that. I think I would just rent a studio and take some community college classes like, a normal retiree does.
Right. I mean, Ophira, do you have your sort of ideal retirement laid out?
Other than eating a small amount of cat food every day based on the money that I will have.
Yes, other than that.
I mean, there is part of me that is like, I will be done learning. You know what my policy is? Hiking. That's my plan. Hiking around.
Yes.
Hiking around, being some sort of weird gardener. Yeah, maybe I'd go to horticulture school. I would take a shot at making bourbon in my bathtub. I don't know.
I thought about you, Ophira, because there's a woman, I'm a founding member of the Friends of Tompkins Square Park. I need to count how many times I end up saying that per episode. But I do some gardening, right, in the park and blah, blah, blah. Like I can't put in as much time as I wish because I am a mother and work over full time. But I do what I can. And there's a woman who's our kind of like guru, lead gardener, and she knows everything about everything. She's a retired doctor. And like, it just has really thrown herself, the wonderful Kathleen Corrigan, really thrown herself into helping make Tompkins Square Park better. And I was just like, oh man, what a dream for retirement to like do what she's doing. And it has such an impact on the community. Everybody loves her because she's also so smart about it. Because she has had time to also learn. She got her citizens pruning license, a thing I didn't know existed. You know, there's so many ways you can get involved, and places like New York City make it possible for senior citizens to do cool shit with their time, where you really give back. And so I feel like that would be, I have to say, one thing I do think is fun, and I've talked about this on the show before, which is that I want there to be people at my funeral. And so I need to try like making younger and younger friends. So to guarantee that like I meet some sort of minimum attendance requirement at my funeral.
Right, just enough to hold the casket, right? How many do you need? How many pallbearers do you need? 6 friends minimum?
I know. I don't even, you know what? I haven't even run the numbers because like first you have to like be able to like give the eulogy and look out onto the crowd and feel like there is a crowd. Like it can't just be, I don't want it to feel like open mic night from like when I started out doing comedy and I would, suffer through 2 hours of open mic so I could get 3 minutes or whatever. Like I don't want that look for my funeral.
Negin, no judgment, but I think you're too concerned about how your funeral is going to go.
Well, my point is, which is something that I should probably address in a more therapeutic setting. But my point is that I feel like these senior citizens are doing the thing I want to do, which is they're making young friends who will show up to their funerals.
Gotcha.
Oh, cute. Right. And they're like drinking and partying with no consequences, except for maybe a broken hip. But
you're right. Right. Well, the other thing that I think is interesting is that like what the senior citizens are reporting on about the kind of like friendships is that these kids will talk to them and they're not their mom. They're not related. They're just like an older person who might have some wisdom and maybe a feeling of comfort, right? Like you ever like talk to an older person and you're like, this is oddly comforting. You know what I mean? And I think like maybe also when you're in college and it's scary and it's weird, how helpful would that be to just have an old person that you could be like, dude, Cheryl, like, can we talk about like this boy drama? And Cheryl could come in with like her wisdom and just calm you down about how your boy drama totally doesn't matter and that guy sucks.
Wow.
Sure. Cheryl, Gertrude, Dottie.
Yes.
Yeah. Ruby, Myrna.
Pearl.
What does Mabel feel about this? So wait a second, is what we're saying is that elderly people are worth something in society?
Huh?
Come on now. That's very 1970s of you.
I know. Am I going out on that limb right now? It's not only 1970s, it's also most of the Eastern world that learns to respect elders.
Right. We're not just going to put them on an ice floe and push them out?
I know. We sort of do. We don't do a formal Viking ceremony with old people, but we do a sort of like unspoken Viking ceremony. They turn 65 and then we're like, you flow out onto the ocean, never to be seen again.
Yeah, not interested. Not interested.
And what if they're and I'm very lucky in that I have multi-generational friendships. I have friends that are much older than me, friends that are much younger than me, funeral strategy. And I think that and having the older, and it's funny because I was like, what in my 20s where I was so like only fixated on meeting other young people, I do look back on it and just be like, oh, I was an idiot, Old people are fucking cool.
Yeah, they got more to say. Well, just
You've got so much to say.
I would just like to say, Negin, that I will totally come to your funeral. I will, but I'll be dead. So I don't know.
I know. But if you are alive, I've already talked to a couple of other comedians about this, like Corey Ryan Forster, I believe, and Benari Lee Poulton have already agreed to do a tight 5 at my funeral.
Nice.
So if either
Great
of you
gig.
are into that, yeah, I can put you on the list.
Just so you know.
Wait, is your comedy career over after your special tapes?
Yeah, it's totally over. Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? Mine is over after every night I perform comedy.
Well, it feels like that too. I'm like, maybe this was the last.
This was the last one.
Live everybody like this is the last. I'm like, I do. Oh, I do.
What if it was instead of like you're on a campus, there's a senior citizen home for just comedians, and every night is an open mic night.
No, I'm out. I'm out.
No, that's not a good idea.
Gosh.
You don't
I
want
need
to take
be
these
around
insecurities
people with normal jobs, normal problems.
Oh, that's
not
interesting.
complaining about not being famous enough.
You don't want to take these insecurities into your golden years, I guess.
Yeah. After 65, I do never want to say who books that.
Yeah. A 90-year-old being like, if I was on The Daily Show, I would kill, but they wouldn't dare hire me.
There's a comedy, like pseudo comedy club that's like in the same building as my yoga class. And I truly almost asked the yoga people, do you know who books that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I hate myself, and it legitimately happened.
Everything's
Almost
a potential
happened. I didn't do
opportunity.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Disgusting. At this stage in our careers. All right. Folks, what do you think about this $500,000 entrance fee opportunity at a university near you? Hit me up. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. Thank you, Ophira, and thank you so much, Mary. And let's take a quick break, and then we'll have more. And we are back, and let's get into it with our last topic. The Washington Post analyzed 47,000 chatbot conversations, and I couldn't help but dig in. To do that, I'm here with journalist and host of the podcast Smart Girl, Dumb Questions. It's the excellent Nayeema Raza. Hey, Nayeema.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am also here with comedian and host of the daily podcast Stand Up with Pete Dominick. It's Pete Dominick.
I can't believe I'm here with you guys.
I didn't realize this, you guys, but more than 800 million people use ChatGPT each week. It was just a larger number than I anticipated. And so the question with this volume of endless chatter is, what is everyone talking about on ChatGPT? What are their questions? And before we get into the findings, can you both tell me what your relationship is with ChatGPT or with any large language model that you might be using? Like, how have you integrated it into your lives?
I don't use it.
What?
Okay.
Pete, you so old.
I don't really use it either.
What?
Okay. No,
my
I
God.
do.
Guys.
I'll tell you how I use it, Pete. Maybe this makes you feel better, or maybe it makes you feel more comfortable, Nayeema.
Yeah.
I use it for such boring, just like stats questions. I'll be like, oh, what is the population of Sheboygan? And I will go to perplexity.ai, which is free, whatever the thing I end up using. And it'll be like, the population of Sheboygan is whatever. And then I'll be like, thanks. And it's because I'll be like writing, my column for
Do you fact check it when you do that?
I will go to their source because Perplexity makes its source like a little clearer.
Yes.
And so I just go to the source, double check, especially if I'm using it for an article or whatever. And that's how I use it. I'll be like, how many grams of protein is in a piece of chicken? That's kind of how I use it. It's so boring.
I don't use it for work, especially for journalism, because I'm wary
Get burnt,
of the factuality of it, and I just like to go to the primary. But I do use it for like my date. I mean, first of all, my relationship with my chat daddy. I mean, we're together all the time. We're chatting.
Really? Are
all
you
the
really
time.
like? What's an example of you and your chat daddy's conversation?
I mean,
I hate
chat
saying
all the
chat daddy.
Chat daddy
So-
makes me feel very uncomfortable.
So one is, what I use it for is all the things I used to annoy. I still annoy certain friends about it, but like if my flight is delayed, I don't go to it for empathy, but I go to it for action. And I actually tell it, I'm like, I don't want you to be I say, chat daddy, I don't want you to be obsequious. I want you to be efficient. Don't empathize with me, but I have been delayed. I'm stuck on a tarmac. This literally happened to me on November 8th. I've been stuck on a tarmac for 6 hours.
Oh
and 2
my
long ways.
God,
I have
in
11
the
hours.
plane?
Tell me my options. I was going to give a TED talk. I needed to get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so I was
Wow.
like, really, and it just comes back with all these options of what I can do. So I use it for that kind of logistics, which I hate logistics. And so I've outsourced a lot of my logistics to Chat Daddy. And I have to say I'm now really into Gemini. I've been using this Nano Banana, the new visualization. It's kind of amazing. You can be like, it's like good for memes with friends. You can be like, create this image of this thing and like just anything you can imagine. And it's done something that I prefer over ChatGPT, which is like, sometimes when that resolution is so good, myself and the musician Jacob Collier were just speaking about this. Like when it's so perfect, you actually don't like it. There's something more beautiful and like the gradation, the like ability to imagine the imperfection of it. So now Nano Banana Pro, which is integrated into Google's Gemini, is like creating these images that look so wild, guys. Like I want to show you. Can I show you?
I'm
Well, I
scared.
mean-
By the way, just so you know, the reason I don't use it is because I know it all already.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So whatever I'm going to ask, I'm always like,
right.
what?
Yeah,
Like ask me like
that
a question.
makes
Ask
sense.
ChatGPT right now, and I'll just tell you the answer.
Yeah,
But
I
what-
always thought I could use
Pete?
Perplexity AI, or
Just
I
text
could
me.
just call
You
Pete.
can text or call me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
call Pete.
No, but I mean, so wait, so you don't even find yourself using it for that kind of like just run of the mill statistics?
I'm definitely I've looked things up using it, but I'm scared or uncomfortable with having any kind of thoughtful conversation with a droid. I'm not scared. I just don't. I'm not finding that
Yeah.
appealing yet.
Yeah, so Nayeema, do
I
you
don't do
use it
that.
in any sort of
No.
like, and I would like a response back that gives me some feeling from you?
No, in fact, I try
AI.
to strip it from feelings. I have my memory turned off for it. It doesn't learn from me, and I keep my conversation separate. And if there's something that I have that has a ton of information that I don't want to like leave forever, I delete it. I think the Washington Post reporting of these conversations was from people who made public. their
Yeah, there was
conversations,
because there was
which
like
is-
an option.
And there was
Yeah.
also wild, like, to see some of the stuff that was coming
Yeah,
out of
get
it.
it.
But people are like really using it as. You should
Well,
give some examples. People are
let
really
me give
using
you.
it.
Let me just give you guys a quick breakdown of how some of this stuff is used. Seeking specific information. Now that's me. And by the way, I don't even think I still don't use it at the rate that I feel like anyone else that most people are using it, because the thing I hear a lot from friends who have more corporate jobs is that they use it to help them write emails, which
don't do
I
that.
always find I'm like, I'm a writer.
I'll be done with the email before I.
Before
get home. Is
I
that
just
right?
feel
Maybe-
like the prompt would be me writing the prompt for the thing to write the email is already the email.
I
Like,
guess
you know
to
what
be
I mean?
fair,
I
if-
don't understand.
If your job is very technical and you need to write elaborate, most of my emails are like, "Hey, what's up?"
Email should
Yeah.
be short.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if you need an editor,
Again,
it could
I
be
don't
an
know what
editor.
it's like to be in the pants of these lawyers and HR executives or whatever. I mean, I do in other
I
ways.
heard you did.
But I can imagine. I mean, I can imagine there's some instances in which it makes life easier, obviously, or else they wouldn't be using it. But here's so seeking specific information. 35% of the conversations they analyzed were that, like the way that I use it. Musing and abstract discussion. Now, this is the antithesis of how I use it. Is 13% of the chats were in that direction. They analyzed people. They found that they engaged the chatbot in abstract discussions, musing on topics like their ideas for breakthrough medical treatments or personal beliefs about the nature of reality. So instead of taking your sort of class in existentialism in college, they're just talking to ChatGPT.
Yeah, 1 out of 4 young people, which is defined, I think, as people under the age of 40, say that they think that human relationships will be replaced by AI relationships.
One out for 25% of.
This is according to one survey by the Institute for Family Studies, I think.
That's fucking
and so
amazing.
but there are already people in relationships with chatbots. Like I did an event at the Comedy Cellar that was like literally about should I date an AI or should I date an AI or a human? And it was quite jokey, but actually there are people whose marriages have been ended by advocacy from their own AIs.
Yeah.
They're, who've like, people have gone to divorce attorneys, I've heard, saying, I want to end my marriage and my Claude told me to, or whatever it is.
Right.
So
Not that. At first glance, that sounds horrible, but at the same time, your friend or your therapist said the same thing before you. Probably the same advice. That
it's a reflection of you, right?
Or someone smarter than you, or that has an objective view of your relationship.
What I find, I think that like most people still don't understand. I don't understand how AI works. I just spent time interviewing Jeff Hinton, the godfather of AI, and like the first episode is just like, how does this work? And it's basically like a human brain. I didn't understand how our own perception system works.
I'm not gonna.
But like
I could.
you know it all.
I'm not going to.
But I think the thing is that there's like when you play with it, it's kind of interesting also because you kind of understand how it works. Now there's also like AI psychosis, right? Because you've seen like Silicon Valley investors go off the deep end.
Yeah.
Or one investor go off the deep end.
Well, and I also think it's interesting because one tech journalist that I spoke to off the record said that he kind of thinks this is a bubble. It will burst. Our usage of it isn't going to be as robust for civilians. Like civilian usage is not going to be as robust as we think it's going to be. That like people are, that where this makes a real difference is sort of like the research lab and stuff that requires so much computing, and stuff that like.
No, there's a
but I don't
loneliness
know.
epidemic, and also I think that.
But there is a loneliness epidemic. But I feel like
No, there's not.
you're at Costco, you're happy, or it's a different.
Do you have any more samples?
I think that but no, there is. I mean, look, if you want, I would like to know how much. Like every time I ask a dumb question to my ChatGPT, how much like water is being used or energy is being used.
Yeah.
That would probably make me more judicious in its use, as would like pricing it more probably accurately over time.
Well, coding, data analysis, and math were 11% of the usage. Work or personal writing / editing were 10% of the usage, which I hear a lot of that from my friends is like, edit this, take this 500-word bio and make it a 100-word bio, stuff like that. I hear that a lot from people. How-tos and homework help, 8%. Would have thought that would be so much more. Honestly, I would have thought high school and college kids are just using the shit out of this.
My daughters are applying to colleges right now, so every single young person applying to colleges is absolutely using it.
But guys, this is what's been made public. What people are using it for a lot is therapy. And it's not on here. People are using this a lot for therapy.
I think that goes down to the musing, right?
An abstract. They didn't want to call it
Well,
that.
they said that 1 in 10 users said the main reason that they were using it was for social interaction. So that goes back to your...
Yeah, but there's sounds like a pretty good argument for it. I mean...
For mental health?
I mean, for therapy, yeah.
I mean,
sure.
yeah,
you can go to a bad therapist. You can get bad advice from your therapist. I think anytime people are using anything to bounce ideas, questions, problems off of something, in this case, this app. I mean, I don't love it, but I also kind of think it's probably a good thing for a lot of people who can't afford or don't go to a traditional therapist. There's
also a cautionary tale here, like the character AI. There was a child a 14-year-old who committed suicide after using, character AI and kind of becoming very deeply linked to a character in it. So I think that there's a danger to these things. I think if you're going to use for mental health, maybe ChatGPT, but there's also specialized models being developed like Slingshot AI, which are actually, using therapist input to develop a dedicated model for mental health. And that's probably what we'll see, not these foundational models doing everything, but more dedicated models doing various things. I just find it fascinating that people shared. I'm telling you, if this is what people shared, think about what people don't share. And recently I did this experiment where I took all these chats that I was having with a guy I'm dating or going on dates with. And I cropped out, I screenshot it, and I put the thing and I asked it for feedback. And it was very funny because it would be don't do this. This is or I'm gonna tell you to do this. And then I would say, oops, I already did that just to
fuck with it.
Yeah. And it's what you did is okay. Don't worry. It didn't come off too crazy. So it's so validating. That's the annoying thing about ChatGPT. And this is what I worry about with our human relationships being replaced by this. You might think you're in love with ChatGPT. If you're out there thinking you're in love with ChatGPT, go to Costco. But like, I think that the thing is, it doesn't love,
Which is our new way of saying touch grass.
Exactly, touch grass. But I think it's nice to say that because you love it because it's validating you, it's sycophantic to you, and no person in the real world, especially not a man who needs like 100 bellows from a cat, is going to give that kind of validation to you. You got to be like, and you're not giving it back with ChatGPT. You're treating it like, I'm like dominatrixing my chat daddy.
That's a really important observation because it doesn't teach you to give back in real life. You're only taking from your chat GPT, which is fine. But if in real life you're not giving, you're not listening, you're not asking, you're not making an effort, and it's as a result of you being conditioned by this thing that just keeps serving you whatever you want, which is, by the way, how people are with me in general anyway. But I understand how that'd be a problem for others.
And I wonder, okay, so we're talking a lot about like how we're using it or like how we kind of perceive other people using it internally. But then if there was an example in the article of the analysis of a man who asked ChatGPT to write his wife a letter, his ex-wife a letter about like the custody of his children.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, if I was in that situation, knowing that my husband asked ChatGPT to write a letter to me, so how would you guys feel receiving content from someone that's kind of being positioned as these are my heartfelt feelings about.
That's interesting. I've never even thought about it. My quick reaction is I'm totally fine with it because I often get advice from friends and others about what to say, and I just take it and say it, and I stand by it. And I've done that my whole life because I'm getting advice. Someone else is telling me how better to ask for something or say something, and I think it's helpful. So if someone did that to me, I'd be like, yeah, if you really were thoughtful enough to ask anybody, much less to look this up to see how to phrase it best, you're still signing off on it before you're sending it to me. I like it.
Yeah, but it's just like there's something the depth of feeling. If I know, or if I can tell, that's bad.
First of all, I would just reply back to that very long, probably ex-boyfriend or ex-husband message and be like, "Did you use ChatGPT to write this?" Like that's
right.
Because you can always tell when something is written by it, and it's always embarrassing when people are like, "I really didn't," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you write like that." the challenge, I actually think like. It is the norm. People are using it increasingly. Like take something else. Like you use it for legal advice, and now you don't have to pay your lawyer every 6 minutes. Like, you probably that celebrate kind of stuff, that,
sure,
right?
Yeah. Or actually, some friends of mine talk a lot about how they'll put a bunch of symptoms in there, and they'll to figure out like what's ailing them, and they use it a lot as like a sort of symptom medical advice.
Was an early adopter of this, and so it used to really piss me off because my mother, who's like aging, would go to the doctor. My sister would send this like entire conversation she had with ChatGPT about it, and like this, and I'm like, stop sending this. This is 2 years ago, right? Like early 2023. Like this is in 2023 when it first came out. By the next year, I'm kind of using it in the same way. I do find it helpful to amass a lot of information. I think you got to go check your work, but I think that what is really happening is that we are becoming, and probably why it icks you out, is we're becoming disintermediated from each other.
Yes.
And I just gave a TED talk about this. We're becoming disintermediated from each other. And I think we're even becoming disintermediated from ourselves. Like part of the reason I don't use like Ophira and all these products that often is because I just like want to know how I feel. And I don't need like a continuous glucose monitor to tell me that like, eating pizza was a bad idea at 2 a.m. I know.
I'm getting disintermediated from you because you use that word. And I don't know what
I thought you knew everything.
You
said you were a know-it-all.
Not that one. I erased my actual memory. I don't know. I also, just final point I would say is communication has never been a burden for me. But I don't take that for granted. I think a lot of people have a hard time saying certain things.
That's right.
And I'm sensitive to that because I realize, whether it's your kids, whether it's your partner, whether it's someone that you work with, people don't always know how to express themselves in the most appropriate way. And sometimes it's helpful. And I would prefer that someone signs off on. So I wish my mom would use this and not be passive aggressive because it would be more helpful for her to be more direct and aggressive to me or anybody else who just doesn't communicate in a way.
It would have to be in her wheelhouse to recognize that she's not being direct. And then go to ChatGPT and be like, help me with my communication. It seems like
she
that's like 3 steps beyond.
She could just be like, it's quicker for ChatGPT or it's better for ChatGPT.
Oh, maybe,
she doesn't need to know the cause.
Yeah.
And it might help you. That is true. And I do think like we have too much estrangement in this country. It would be nice to smooth those relationships. But like just fast forward because this is like we're thinking about now. I am like deeply curious I think that the future of humanity is cyborg and like we're going to have this technology very much integrated.
Stop.
You heard Alexander Wang, the head of the CEO of Scale AI and the former head of, the current chief AI scientist, I think, for Meta, or head of AI for Meta, he said that he's waiting to have a baby until the neural networks are sufficiently developed that you can like plug your baby into like a neural link or something and get all this information into its head in the moment that it's most neuroplastic. I do think that the future, I mean, maybe I sound crazy right now, but this is the future. It is also crazy that teens these days are not having relationships at the same level that like we used to. They're not having these relationships. They're going to have these relationships with GPT. They're going to learn how to have one-way street relationships. This is not good.
Which is funny because this was the topic of my last TED Talk, which was mostly just stand-up of me talking about how I think people need to be out there fucking. That's what I think. They need to be out having one-night stands, meeting people, just having sex. They're not doing that. Our numbers are down. And so, again, I think if there's anything that the data is telling us about these, especially concerning 1/10 of the population that's going to ChatGPT for conversations and social engagement, is that we're doing something wrong about social engagement in the real world if this is what they're doing. And I can't picture someone in the 50s being like, I lack social engagement, so I'm going to turn to this dishwasher or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, people in previous generations didn't turn to something that made it worse. Instead, they would be like, I'm going to go to my family. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to go to my friend. I'm going to like increase my social engagement through people and not appliances.
I just wish I had a dishwasher.
I was just,
to be in a relationship with, whether it was connected to the internet or not.
I was like,
so in love with it.
I don't know. I don't even know what
the
that
way
meant.
you clean my glasses is all I need in my life.
Is a dishwasher as good as a shower head? Just kidding.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, on that spicy note, all right, thanks you guys for having this conversation about these 47,000 chats.
You get in the dishwasher?
Just leave it there. We'll just leave that there.
You lie in the...
All right. And then I'm just going to reintroduce you guys for this last thing. Here we go. Next topic. We have a question of etiquette. And to talk about it, I'm here with a journalist and host of the podcast, Smart Girl with Dumb Questions. It's Nayeema Raza. Hey, Nayeema.
I'm basically Emily Post.
I am also here with a comedian and host of the daily podcast, Stand Up with Pete Dominick. Hey, Pete Dominick.
I'm basically Colin Jost.
And I came across an advice letter in the Times, and I couldn't help but share it because I felt like, it's something that we've all dealt with. I'm curious to hear how you guys would deal with it. So I'm going to read the letter, and then you guys tell me what this person should do. This is the letter that went to the New York Times advice columnist. A colleague is getting married next year and invited everyone on our small team to the festivities. We talk about the wedding every week during our team check-in, and it is joked about by team leadership as an informal team offsite. Everyone has RSVP'd except for me. While I'd love to go if it was happening in my own sitting, attending the wedding will require a cross-country flight, a hotel, dog boarding, and the opportunity cost of missing a long weekend at home. My partner, who has never met my team, isn't interested in attending. I really do like this colleague, but I prefer to spend vacation time and money away from work. I don't think the bride will be too disappointed if I can't make it, but attending feels like the expectation, and I'm worried that missing it will affect my standing with the team. How can I regretfully decline without becoming a pariah at work? All right, I feel like this kind of thing has happened to me my whole life. I've been around it happening, in jobs, in social groups. How would you guys elegantly decline, or would you elegantly decline?
I just want to say thank you to whoever wrote this letter. As a millennial unmarried person, my great enemy in life is not like men, and I'm not a heterofatalist, but I do hate the wedding industrial complex. Like, this workplace, I have bigger advice for this guy. I'm like, or person, like, leave your work. Why are you guys all hanging out so much? This sounds terrible. Like, this whole thing sounds terrible.
It's so funny. It sounded fun to me that they were all close and joking and
thought
had
that
that camaraderie.
I know. I was like, this corporation is making you.
The thing is, me and Pete are better people, more loving, better people.
I love going to other people's weddings, but the expense is outrageous.
It honestly does not sound like you love going to other people's weddings.
I'm such a fun wedding guest. I've been to like 6 weddings this year.
That's too many.
I actually
weddings.
follow Nayeema on Instagram, and it seems as all she does.
I've been to Paris,
is
Venice.
go to weddings. I'm like, who
Venice
is this
by one that
person?
it was not Jeff Bezos' wedding, but it was done by the same planners. It was at the similar venue.
Jesus
so like,
Christ.
Paris, but that one they put us up for like days in this fancy hotel in Paris. Like, I went to some fancy fucking.
I
weddings.
feel like
I
what
went to
we're
great
learning
weddings.
is that you have very wealthy friends. That's what's going on.
But there's this great. But I don't go to every wedding, and I sometimes think that like a wedding is a little bit of like a game theory. It's like they invited you, but they would like you to not go and just send a gift. And
Right,
it's like,
right.
There's a little bit of like, I feel like I should, like what we call it the galof in Urdu, or you call it the kluf in Persian. But the idea of people, like formality of inviting you. But I think that you can delicately decline. I think you just say, you know what, I'm unable to make it. I really like would love to take you and your husband out for dinner when you get back. That's what I would say.
I
Oh,
think
that's
that
nice.
if you like your job and you like working there and you generally like the people, I know in the past I have invested in any opportunity to be outside of work with those people. So your question was, do you go? Or if the person isn't going to go, what should they say? And I would say you should go, because if you like that job, I mean, it's hard to find a place that you really like working. And it sounds like these people really like each other. And so I understand, however, the spouse doesn't know. They're going to feel a little bit out of sorts, but you generally always feel that way at a wedding, so get over it. But I think they should go. If you really like that job and you really like the people and you can afford it, I mean, this woman's like, oh, I can't find someone to board my dog. Like, well, do you ever leave? I said it as a woman. I don't know.
Can I just say, I had the same reaction.
You guys are better people.
I literally was like, I don't understand.
just
You like your coworkers. It's like, seems like a fun time. Like, go spend time with them. Strengthen the bonds as opposed to like, why limit the bonds? Like, I don't know. And this might just be also because I'm a comedian and I don't have a workplace. And so and back in the day when I did have a workplace though, I did take opportunities to go to those things. I just liked it.
I'm sorry. I think you guys are too far removed from like the time where everyone's getting married and there's
No,
like 100
I think that
weddings,
you are
right?
too far removed from people who don't get invited to a ton of weddings. Like, not everybody is getting you don't
Nayeema.
You're looking at this. We see things as we are, not as they are.
that's
You get
fair.
invited to a ton of weddings, and you are sick
By
of
the
it.
way, I just want to say, in the list
If
of
anybody
reasons,
listening invites me to their wedding, I will come. I mean, I am so
by
excited.
the way, in the list of reasons, the letter writer did not say I get invited to too many
that's
weddings.
fair, that's fair. I
They're what they want to do instead. Just I want to point this out. What this person wants to fucking do instead is sit on their couch for a long weekend.
With their partner and their
It
dog.
sounds so
But it's-
depressing to me.
It
what they
seems
want to
so
do.
financial that I was actually curious. Like, does everyone else at your work make more than you? You should find out how much people are getting paid. Do one of those Google Docs where you anonymously put in your salary. That's what my advice
Yeah.
to this person
Oh,
is.
there it is. Do one of those. Yeah.
well,
Find
they're
out.
all going across the country, it sounds like. So if they're all talking about it, that's got to be something that you're sensitive about when you have a wedding. I know you're going to have to pay a lot of money to do this. It's going to be worth it, or else I'm not.
You'll
And
be
also,
surprised
they
people are
pointed out
not.
that their spouse doesn't know their coworkers. By the way, no spouse really does. They don't work with you, so they're not going to know their coworkers.
The one
That feels like a ridiculous.
obvious question none of us came upon is who's inviting their coworkers more than like one or two
Yeah.
to their
Well, this
wedding.
sounds like a small team that's really tight, which is cool.
This lady's Amish.
or the bride feels like she has to.
There's a great tool that
Maybe.
Quartz had, and I don't know if it's called like "Should I Go to That Wedding?" It's like a chat bot, well before chat bots. I think it was like in 2019 that they made it, and you would put in like how much did it cost you, how close are you as friends, like it would ask you this multiple choice
Oh, I
thing,
love that.
and it would tell you like if you should or should not go to the wedding. So I would send this also.
This woman lives in a world where people get invited. She and her friends get invited to a lot of weddings. And I think that listeners and you and I
Yeah.
just can't relate.
Look, I get invited to a lot of things. So I feel like my equivalent
That's different.
This is a weird equivalent, but I feel like I get invited to a lot of like the annual gala for the thingy thing, and we're trying to blah.
But that's
like,
not an invite. That's a donation request.
no, I get invited
oh,
like
That was a
we
put
have-
down from her
No,
because
no.
she gets invited to so many weddings and not thingy things. Like
I get
get
invited
invited because that many people like me enough to put me on the list.
But
Right.
that is like your donation is like you're going and you're supporting by
Supporting
being there.
by
You're gonna
being a
post it on
physical
Instagram.
presence.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I find that I get involved.
She's so fancy and famous.
Whatever.
Oh, look,
Don't you have
I'm
a
so
wedding in Lake
fancy.
Como
I'm
to
so
attend?
fancy.
I can't-
No, I mean, but so here's what's funny funny though. Like when I was the last time I guest hosted Wait, Don't Tell Me, you know, I spent the week in Chicago when that happened. So
drop. Who am I with these two?
I was sitting in the
I couldn't
office.
guest host that week because I was at a wedding in Azerbaijan.
So I'm in the office and I hear a lot of the like office chatter or whatever, and everyone was going to do a show in Hawaii the following week, which I was not booked on that show. Anyways, but so
Public radio is under attack. Please make your donations to NPR.
But so basically they were talking about what they were going to do in Hawaii, and then I was just like, wait a second, are you guys as an office going to go to the beach together?
Like in your bikini?
In your
that's
bikinis.
weird.
And
That's
then I
weird.
was like, I wonder, and it's funny because I didn't get a straight answer from anybody if that was going to
To
happen.
see your coworkers without the regular clothes on, that's a whole other conversation.
Well, if there's see your coworkers, I don't want anyone to see me with my bikini on if they know me in a professional. I'm not going
All
to
of
the beach
a
with either of
sudden,
you, by the way.
You guys who were such water cooler people 14 minutes ago have really just like drawn a hard line in the sand about how intimate you want to get with your work people. I don't know. You know what I think is a great
There's
great
certain
travesty?
people I want to see on the beach that I work with, and there's others that I don't. That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
You can't just selectively invite. It's like
I wish you
kindergarten. You have
could.
to invite everybody. But like, one great
Hey, Mike,
tragedy.
just stay in a hotel. Don't come to the beach, all right, buddy? Little slopola, all right? Just go to the gym, whatever.
But really romanticize work here. I think one great tragedy of the 21st century has been the not dating at work thing. And I say that as someone who has been
So
Me
have you
Too'd
not
in the
dated
past.
at work?
Yeah. I have dated at work. Have I dated at work? Actually, I had a bad experience with like a boss early on, like in when I started working in the late aughts, there was like a situation, then
that was a Me Too situation.
I don't know because like Me Too happened later, and then you think about like, well, what's the thing, you know? But yeah, by the way, I did have a lot. Like my first 6 months working, I had like a client touch me, come into my office and like touch my leg. I had a partner grab my ass at a holiday party, and I had a group of guys who would like do things like throw a calculator because they'd like rewarded me for like best body part, and they wanted to see me bend over and pick it up. So there was like a big culture of that going on in the late aughts. I think every girl who worked every woman that worked at that time dealt with that, right?
I mean, in the years that I worked in corporate America, I experienced a lot of that stuff, and it was like super gross. That said, I also did date very successfully people I worked with.
Me too.
And it was so fucking fun.
And it's a great way to meet people when you're traveling together and you're doing this. But what I think has happened is that sleaziness still exists in the workplace. The thing is, there's still sleaziness. So after all of this referendum reform, what's happened is that the sleaziness is still there in insidious, like more.
But the dating
has gone
there.
away.
Oh God, that's a terrible trade-off,
right?
That's a
There's a
terrible
reason
trade-off.
not to date someone that you work with, not to shit where you eat, and that rule, you know, has holds up a lot. But you're both saying that you have, and Negin, you said successfully, but you said it as well. And I mean, unpacking that is interesting because how do you break up with that person? The hardest thing about breaking up is if you have to see that person tomorrow. Because you can't get over someone if you got to see him, and if you got to see him at work, and then you see him start talking to somebody else, torture. Not that I've ever had that happen.
I mean, although you want to go to the beach to have that happen.
Can I say that, like,
Just with that one guy.
in your 20s, when that happens, you break up with someone, but you're still working with them. The kind of like drama, the frisson of drama in the office is still like fun. I gotta be honest, I found that shit fun.
No way, I'm surprised.
Of like being the better person and being super cool in situations when you knew the other guy couldn't handle it.
You can take the girl out of Paris, but you cannot take Paris out of the girl.
Thank you so much.
Is that what it is?
Thank you so. That's what
Negin
it
in
is.
Paris, that's what it
That's
is.
why I'm so cool, Pete.
Yeah,
that's
people
why
have
I'm so
affairs all
fucking
the
cool.
time. I was always like dating outside of the workplace. I dated people in school, so like I would always have boyfriends outside of the workplace. I never had the opportunity to date at work, and now I wish I did. Now everyone's married, and I'm like, hey, do you want to date? But you can't. Can't date
Right?
that guy.
Yeah.
Can't date a what?
Married guy can't.
You can't,
got-
I'm
don't do
surprised
that.
you two don't have a radical idea about that. No, it's 2025, and like marriage is.
Well, it's so funny because I feel like now I remember when I was dating, like doing online dating, and I would get requests from people that were like in threesomes and stuff, or like they wanted in thruples and stuff like that. And I remember just thinking like, what? Like,
That's different. They're inviting you in as opposed to...
No, exactly. They're inviting me in. It was all legit, but I just was just like, oh, I'm super 100% not interested. And I think now people are more interested in or just like open to stuff like that. I mean, I would probably
Not in the workplace. Do not do that in the workplace.
Do a throuple in the workplace? That would be wild.
Do not go into a colleague's marriage. That sounds like very bad.
That
advice.
sounds very
I'm like,
bad.
don't go to the wedding, but definitely don't go to the marriage.
The only threesome I ever had was at work. At the workplace.
Wait,
Are you
really?
serious?
Ow.
Okay.
Never had a threesome.
Just like every time a threesome comes up, like the guy in the room has to be like, when I had a threesome.
I have never, ever even come close. It's like, for me, a threesome is like cocaine.
Wait,
Yeah.
have you really
Never seen it, never done it.
Have you?
Obviously.
What? And were you
No,
the
but I
unicorn?
mean-
You know what a unicorn is?
No, I don't know.
That's a special act. That's like the one that gets invited in. That's not the permanent position.
Oh,
Guest
yeah,
starring.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because I'm not, I'm
terminology.
never, I'm no. But, and also it was all things considered pretty chaste because I think because I quickly was like, this feels like too much work and
I'm
gotta go.
fascinated. A comedian used to do this joke about how he had a threesome with these two women and all they did was jump over his dick to get to each other, which I thought was funny. But I also think, like I'm saying, like I'm so ignorant to that. I don't even know how it happens. How does it happen? Who are these? How does it? It's so weird to
By the
imagine.
way,
Go ahead, expert.
in my case,
Yeah.
Paris. That's how it happens.
I think that's
course.
a mic drop.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I think when you get to Paris, they like it's part. You walk in.
Yeah,
and,
it's
threesome.
you also have to
How
get
do you say
your
threesome?
passport stamped once it happens so that it's
An exit
so-
stamp.
An exit,
You cannot leave. This is the opposite of like Trump's immigration policy. They want to keep you until they want to actually procreate with you.
And did you have your threesome? And how was it? Not great, actually. Totally ignored.
These Americans.
Folks, we arguably solved the question of this person going to their coworker's wedding.
Have a threesome at the wedding.
Have a
Did you?
threesome at the
oh my
wedding,
God, actually-
as long as the wedding is in Paris. I feel
Ditch
like
your
was-
partner because then you don't need the doggy boarding. Then go for that menage a trois.
With the bride and groom.
Oh,
And
shit.
actually, then you don't need to give them a wedding
night.
gift. Double
Exactly.
servings.
That's
There
the
it
gift.
is. Wedding night
It's
menage a
me.
trois.
It is you. Bye. What? You guys are leaving?
All right, folks, that's it. Follow Stand Up with Pete Dominick is the podcast.
Smart Girl, Dumb Questions.
Dumb Questions is the other podcast. Thanks, guys. That's it for the show. I just want to thank everyone who makes this show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Rob Heath. Thanks to Gaby Alter for our theme music. You can visit the show at patreon.com/Negin Farsad to support the show. And you can email us at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com if you have any ideas, questions, concerns. And thanks again to all of you. Happy New Year, and we'll be back in your earballs next week.